Welcome to the mufcMPB channel on this wonderful Thursday where we are going to be getting into all of the latest news, whether it be three massive players potentially leaving the club, yesterday's 4-2 victory over Sheffield United, have a look at the stats and how we performed, or the core of the team sticking together. Let's get into this wonderful Thursday news. And first off is a big story about Marcus Rashford, and this is from Disco Mirror, where Manchester United are willing to sell Marcus Rashford for the right price. And I think this is after his potentially poorer season this season. We know for a few years now, Marcus Rashford has been linked to PSG, and it does look like, and I'm 99% sure this summer, Kylian Mbappe will be leaving PSG. So are they going to bring Rashford in to be their new superstar, to head the PSG sort of outlook, the brand? I think it could be a case. And I love Marcus Rashford. I have got every single one of his shirts since the very start. That number 39 on the back. I am a huge Marcus Rashford fan. But this season has been disappointing. There has been issues with injuries. There has been issues with mentality. There has been issues with maybe overall quality. Does he just have a massive purple patch and then falls off for the rest of the season and his stats look very good? This season, he hasn't had that purple patch. Last season, he was fantastic. A couple of seasons before that, no purple patch. Stats weren't great. Are we starting to see we've maybe got the most we can out of Rashford, and he might himself need a brand new start, a brand new story to go on to? If he made his debut, his appearance last night against Sheffield United, 450 games for Manchester United. In terms of an academy product, you can't get much better than that. 450 games for your boyhood club after coming through the ranks. And in the game, when he made his debut, them 2 goals in the Europa League and then 2 goals against Arsenal, he has been an absolute legend, a hero to many. But is it time we say goodbye to Marcus Rashford? I think personally, if we were to get an offer, 100 million plus, I think we've got to take it. 100 million is an incredible amount of money. And I think with the new ownership, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, with potentially a new manager, potentially a new way of playing, we could see the end of Marcus Rashford. I think it would maybe allow Garnacho to head back over to that left-hand side. It might give a few more options to Ahmad, etc. I don't like the sound of it, to be honest. As much as I sit here and say all this, when you actually say it out loud and I think about it, Manchester United without Marcus Rashford at the moment doesn't feel right. And Marcus Rashford without Manchester United doesn't feel right either. But is it one of them where we finally, we say goodbye to Marcus? I hope not, for the sake of the club, for the sake of Marcus. I hope he stays at the club, and I hope we do keep him around. I understand where the club are coming from. It's 100% profit in terms of FFP. He's the academy product. We'd get 100+ million for him. He would be on ridiculous money at PSG. He'd probably be one of the best players, paid players in the world. He would go and smash it. He would have a lot less limelight on him. When you start to think about things for Marcus himself, he's had his dream. He's been United. He's been at his boyhood club. He's won us a few trophies. Does he want that Premier League trophy at United? Very, very possibly. He does absolutely love the club. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. But is it time for Marcus Rashford to leave Manchester United? Let me know down in the comments down below. It's a very controversial topic. I think we'll end up keeping him. I think he'll go on to be a club legend. I can't see him ever leaving. But I can also see a world where it does happen, and it's not the worst scenario in the world either. I think we move on from it. I think Marcus moves on from it. And I think we all sort of walk away from the deal with hands up and go, you know what, we've made a lot of money. Marcus, you can go make a lot of money and have a much more relaxed life and enjoy football again. Because maybe the pressure of being a Man United winger is a very, very heavy thing. And that is also the case for Jadon Sancho as well. We've got a few stories from Disco Mirror today, and this one is Manchester United have put Jadon Sancho up for sale this summer. This is something that I think is going to be heavily pushed from Erik ten Hag, and from that side of things, I do think if a new manager comes in, he gets another chance. This story might be regardless of manager. Personally, I don't think it is. Jason Wilcox comes in, massive relationship with Jadon Sancho. I think if anyone's going to sort of get Sancho ticking, it's going to be having Wilcox here at the club and, helping him develop and, really being that sort of go-to guy for him, having that point of contact. I think Jason Wilcox could be that for Sancho. Does that mean he stays at the club if Ten Hag goes? I think the whole rift and the whole Sancho leaving really does boil down to the fact that him and Ten Hag just don't get on. There is no working relationship there. That is never going to be repaired. I think there is a world where Sancho stays and Ten Hag goes. I also think there's a world where this is a very real possibility and Jadon Sancho does leave and Manchester United carry on with Ten Hag. We saw Sancho the other day, we looked at Sancho the old when in that quarterfinal for Borussia Dortmund. He was absolutely fantastic. We were sitting there and Sancho's in, a UCL semi-final. He was absolutely cooking in that game against Atletico Madrid and that's the sort of player he can be with the right relationships, with the right things around him. It's a new manager and Jason Wilcox, exactly what we need to get the best out of Jadon Sancho. I think it is, and I think if Ten Hag does go, I think we give Sancho another chance and he does become a good player here at Manchester United. And again, especially if someone like Marcus Rashford is going to leave, can we let go of Jadon Sancho as well? And can we also let go of Antony? Because Manchester United are apparently ready to cut their losses on Antony this summer. This is all from Disco Mirror, and that is 3 wingers all leaving the club. Now, there is nothing there about Amad Diallo. There is nothing there about Alejandro Garnacho. So for me, they're the 2 wingers left at the club. And there's a lot of wingers coming in the summer if that's the case, and I can't see that happening, to be honest. Getting a lot of new players in is going to be difficult, especially if we don't know what's happening with Dan Ashworth. But I can certainly see a summer window where we sell Sancho, we sell Antony, and Rashford stays. I think 2 of these very could potentially go. I think especially if we do sort of end the Ten Hag experiment, I think Antony leaves with him. I think Antony, for me, it's just been a bit of a shame, really. I was talking to this with a few Chelsea fans the other day in regards to Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo. It's so difficult because it's not the player's fault. It's not the player's fault that they've got price tags of 100 million or in Antony's case, 80 million. It's what they were worth to Ajax in this case at the time. It's what Manchester United were willing to pay for him. So that's nothing on Antony. I think his performances haven't been good enough, but he's one of the players where if we did pay, we probably should have, around 40 million for him. Would we be talking about it so much? Would we be hating so much? Almost definitely not. But because we spent £80 million on him, which again, isn't our fault, isn't Antony's fault, it's the club's fault and the poor transfer negotiations fault, we are looking at it with so much scrutiny. I actually had an idea the other day of that we should never actually see what we sign players for. There is no good that comes out of anyone talking about what a player joined. Either he spent too little, so he's going to get less game time. He costs too much, so he has to play every single game. What if when they did their financial reports at the end of the quarter, they said transfers, 400 million for 5 players, and we don't find out what the price was? I think that would be so much better than us finding out every single intricate detail of a transfer business. It should be made illegal because we wouldn't even look at Antony in this way. We'd be saying, oh, you know what, looking at it, we probably spent 50 million on him, and that is what it is. And we sort of move on and say, oh, we probably paid 20 million too much for him. We'll cut our losses, we'll sell him for 30. Whereas now we are scrutinising him so much because we know that £80 million price tag. We know how much Ten Hag wanted him, and it's not worked out. I think that idea is fantastic. Let me know in the comments what you think. But to start the day off, 3 massive stories, all from Disco Mora, that Manchester United are willing to sell Marcus Rashford at the right price. Manchester United have put Jadon Sancho up for sale this summer, and the Manchester United are ready to cut their losses on Antony this summer. 3 big stories from one absolute legend. But also from Disco Mirror himself, one final story is that the spine of Manchester United's team, including Andre Onana, Lisandro Martinez, Kobbie Mainoo, Bruno Fernandes and Rasmus Højlund, will certainly stay at the club this summer. Luke Shaw, Diogo Dalot, Alejandro Garnacho, Willy Campoala and Mason Mount also do have futures at Manchester United. Now, top comment here from United Cara. You love how Rashford isn't there. People are sort of on the Rashford leaving train at the moment, and it does surprise me because he is a legend. Not a legend, but he's a bit of a, I don't know, I can't see a world of no Rashford at United. It doesn't feel right, and I know it's a bit of recency bias, and I just feel like we always have them players at the club which bleed Manchester United, and if we get rid of Rashford, who have we really got? I mean, Kobbie of course does. We can't pin it all on Kobbie. McTominay, I mean, he's not even mentioned in this list. Are we just going to get rid of the core of the club? I don't think it's a good idea personally. We have to keep what we are as a club, and as well as there's some good players in there, I think it's very unrealistic to think this is what's going to be left. I think there is a lot of people here that we added to this list that we certainly don't end up selling. This list of players right here, for me, is nowhere near good enough to win a Premier League. Onana, decent keeper. Martinez, I love Martinez. He's on the back of my Manchester United shirt this year. He does not stay fit this season. He has been a big issue in terms of fitness. Fantastic centre-back. Can we rely on him for the long term? Question marks. Kobbie Mainoo, yeah, he's going to be here for longest time. Bruno Fernandes, I mean, recently the talk's quieted down. 7 goals, 2 assists in the last 5 games. But before that, everyone's saying Bruno out. He's now back on this list. Everyone will love him again. I think it's a case of being United fans. A lot of scrutiny on these players. But Bruno Fernandes, is it right to maybe say goodbye? Rasmus Højlund, is he the striker to lead us for the future? I think he's fantastic. I love Rasmus Højlund. But to say he is going to win us a Premier League, is that a step too far? Luke Shaw, injury issues. Dalot, I think, has been fantastic this season. Potential player of the season quality. So I'm glad that he's there. Garnacho, I mean, what's to say Garnacho? He's not really come from our academy. He's come from Atletico Madrid. What's to say, a Barcelona, a Real Madrid come in for him, and he's like, you know what? Yeah, I can go in the Champions League. What's to say he stays? Willy Campbell, I think, is fantastic. Way too young to put all this pressure on him. And Mason Mount, own injury problems with himself. Comes back, gets injured, comes back, gets injured. It's been a very stop-start, poor season for him. That core scares me. That doesn't give me we're about to lift the title score at all. So I wouldn't be too confident on that one if that is the case. And I think last night showed it, as well as we did win 4-2. Yes, their first goal, massive mistake from Onana. Bit of an error. We were fantastic in the first half. The amount of chance we created, Wes Foderingham had the game of his life. I've never seen him play so well ever. Some of the saves against Garnacho, that big palm he got up to it when Dalot knocked it down for him. I don't know how he was that good last night. Eventually 4-2, a fantastic finish from Bruno for the fourth. A penalty which we scored from anyway. I mean, Maguire sort of hit off him and then Dalot put it home to make it 3-2, I believe that was. 2-0, and you know what? Their second goal was something we've seen a lot. Get to the byline, drag back, and Brereton Diaz was there to make it 2-1. It was a bit of a disappointing game. I think, again, it just showed the amount of mistakes we have at Manchester United, the amount of errors we make, the amount of just poor decision-making sometime. I mean, even that ball into Onana for that first goal, he said that has an awful first touch, just praise it as quick as he can to Dalot, and he doesn't even see the defender there. And from there, Jayden Bogle poaches on it and puts it past him. I think, great to score 4 goals. It's against Sheffield United, the team that conceded the most goals in Premier League history, I believe, at this point. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. We conceded 2 at home. It's not great. We got the 3 points, but still some improvements to be made. I mean, if we look at these stats, we still had 10 shots against us, against the worst team in the Premier League. They're on 16 points in 34 games. Conceded 92 goals in 34 games. And we conceded 2 against them. They've not even scored a goal a game, and we conceded 2 against them. So I think that says it all, really. 4 shots on target for them. Dominated possession. Like I said, there were some really nice passages of play. I thought we were actually quite good in that first half. Obviously, going to halftime 1-0 was disappointing, but overall, I thought we were very, very good in that game. 730 passes. We really did keep possession. There was a few memes on Twitter. Jason Wilcox has come in and asked us to keep possession. How's 72 possession for you, pal? That was very, very good. Yellow cards, only 1 in the game, offsides. Classic United, really. And a lot of corners. We were a dominant team. It was just a shame that it come down to a fact of conceding 2 goals. Still made it interesting. Of course we did. But it is what it is. That's what we do at Manchester United. So we move on from there. I sort of got my timeline of the goals mixed up as well. Obviously, Højlund's was the 4th. Bruno's scream was the 3rd. And the penalty was make it 2-2. So one of them games, really. But it is what it is. We've got a few quotes from Mr. Ten Hag himself. And obviously, the big thing of Ethan Wheatley making his Manchester United debut last night. And he was the 250th Manchester United Academy player to make his debut in the Premier League, which is fantastic. Absolute props to him, Ethan Wheatley. We see I think we're going to go through the quotes in a minute, but from Bruno Fernandes. This guy looks like a real talent. Scored an absolute screamer the other day in the game, I believe, against Manchester City to make it 2-1 on the volley. A fantastic half-turn on the volley as well. He looks like a real talent, and hopefully we can get something out of him. It's very difficult to make it at Manchester United. We know that it is a lot to ask of a player to come through the academy, come straight into this Manchester United team. But look at this picture. You can tell he loves it, and you can tell Ten Hag was happy to get him on the pitch as well. And there's also some fantastic players on the bench, and not even on the bench as well. Shea Lacey, we could see his debut. Harry Onyenguene, we could see his debut. Harry Abbas, we could see his debut as well. So there's lots of exciting talents coming through, and I like this point in the season. I mean, there's nothing to play for, which is a little bit of a shame. We're playing for Europa League football. Very disappointing. We should be Champions League. I predict us to win the league this year. Complete delusion, of course, but we're at a point where we can see some of our youth academy players, and hopefully we can get them some good minutes as well. Bruno Fernandes with the quote, "I'm really happy to score, but I want to win games more than score goals. It's part of my job also to score goals, but the main thing for me is winning games. Lately, we haven't won as many as we should have." Very true, Bruno. Very, very true. I do believe we've got the quote somewhere about we don't. I'll grab that. There it is, look. Ethan Whitley came out and said he pulled me to the side and told me I've got 9 minutes to try and get you a goal. And Bruno comes back with, I couldn't give the assist to him, but I'm sure he will get goals in the future. So a very exciting talent in Ethan Wheatley, and him and Bruno seem to have that nice little telepathic sort of link up already, which is good to see. But yeah, that's fantastic for Ethan Wheatley to get on the pitch for sure. Eric Ten Hag on Bruno Fernandes, he's in amazing form. That's what we need from our number 10. Like I said earlier, 7 goals, 2 assists in 5 games in the run into the season. It's massive that we've got him there. He is playing really, really well, and it's good to see because there was, like I said, a period of time where everyone was on his back. He was playing way too deep. He wasn't getting involved. But it seems the last few games he has sort of got back to his best. And even yesterday, playing with an absolutely messed up hand. So fair play to Bruno Fernandes. And Ten Hag on Manchester United's reaction to going a goal behind, because that's what we love to do. Have you seen some panic? No, not at all. We were very composed. We kept making chances throughout the game. And look, I have given this man a lot of stick recently. I am 100% true. Well, I 100% back what you said there. We were 1-0 down. We carried on playing out of our skin. We carried on having a fantastic first half. Even after going 1-0 down to Sheffield United, when that goal goes in, I'm sitting there like, oh my God. This is going to be one of them games where we lose 2-0. We can't break them down against the low block. But actually, we've created a lot of chances. We go back to here, 25 shots with 13 on target. And if it wasn't for West Foderingham having the game of his life, that could have been 6-7-2. I mean, without the 2 would be great, but it is what it is. I think the actual team played very well yesterday. I thought Onana was decent in goal. Obviously, a mistake for the first goal. I liked Dallo a lot on the left-hand side. I think he was doing great link-up with Garnacho. I thought Eriksen was fairly decent, creating some decent chances. Mainu was just incredible, as he always is. I thought Anthony was actually a bit of a brighter spark, to be honest. I think he has been for the last sort of 3 weeks to a month since there's been that massive criticism. I actually think Anthony has been fairly decent. I think a lot of criticism on his back. A lot of people talking about how useless he is, how he got this massive ego, he cups Coventry players, but actually playing off that right-hand side, cutting the left foot, he's not been too bad recently. He's done a lot less shooting, a lot more link-up play, a lot more tricky winger business, which I do like. It was great to see Rasmus get his goal as well, and Bruno obviously with the 2 goals. Nice to see for Wheatley on the bench, but like I said, Amad Diallo has to get some game time soon, surely. Amari Forson, Harry Amas, Habib Ongwembuene, and Louis Jackson, I think will all play at some point in the season, as well as Shea Lacey as well, which is very, very exciting. But I do fully back what Ten Hag's saying here. We did go a goal down. Yes, disappointing, but we did come back and we did manage to win the game, which is massive. And that's going to a goal down twice. So, respect to us for that one for sure. Just a quick rundown of the news then. Manchester United are willing to sell Marcus Rashford for the right price, according to Disco Mirror. What do you think about that one? It's the big story of today. I think 150 million pounds, we'd probably accept it. I don't like it. I don't like Manchester United without Rashford. I don't like Rashford without Manchester United. I mean, I think it's a difficult thing to imagine. If it happens, I think we'd all walk away with the deal, hands up, fairly happy. Rashford can go make a new start. We have lots of money, lots of profit, lots of money to go against our FFP. And PSG get their man to sort of head their new organisation. Manchester United have also put Jadon Sancho up for sale this summer. I believe personally this is a story, this is completely my own opinion, this is a story that is in regards to the manager. If Ten Hag stays, Sancho goes. If a new manager comes in, I see Sancho staying. I see him having a revival in his Manchester United career alongside Jason Wilcox. And we're apparently already ready to cut our losses on Anthony this summer. Like I've mentioned, if we sign Anthony for 40, 50 million pounds, what we should have, I don't think we're talking that much angry about him. But because he was 80 million pounds, we're all very angry about it. It is what it is. That's the deal with being a Manchester United winger, I suppose. But the spine of the Manchester United team, including Onana, Lisandro Martinez, Kobe Mainu, Bruno Fernandes, and Rasmus Højlund, will set the club this summer with Luke Shaw, Dallo, Garnacho, Cambuola, and Mason Mount all also having futures at Manchester United. Also from Disco Mirror, all 4 stories to start things off from the legend of Disco Mirror. Obviously, yesterday, a 4-2 performance, and looking at the stats, we were fairly decent yesterday. Obviously, we managed to keep things to just 2 goals, which is good for us, I suppose, because in 3 to Coventry, for Christ's sake. But yeah, scoring 4 is nice. Bruno getting a brace is nice. Højlund, first goal in 6 games is nice as well. And Maguire, again, sort of doing what he does best, getting that nice little header on it and making it 1-0 in that game was important before half-time. So not the worst performance in the world. I actually think we played quite well. Scoreline's a bit disappointing to concede 2 to Sheffield United, but it is what it is. And obviously a massive congratulations to Ethan Wheatley on making his Manchester United debut. Bruno Fernandes was very happy to score, but I want to win games more than score goals. It's part of my role, so to score goals. But the main thing for me is winning games. Lately, we haven't won as many as we should have. And obviously as well, one thing I want to touch on, finally, is a happy 31st birthday to Raphael Varane. Do you think Rafa is here next season? I don't. Not saying I'm happy with that. I think we get rid of both him and Casemiro in the summer, both off the Saudi. We get quite a lot of money for them both. They can go and wind down their careers. But I love the signing of Rafa Varane when it happened. It's been fantastic to see him wearing the red of Manchester United. Thank you, Rafa Varane. Happy 31st birthday. Hopefully, you still have a lot left to go in your career. Absolute legend. Happy birthday to the legend of Rafa Varane. I obviously quickly touch on the Ethan Wheatley story. On Bruno Fernandes, he pulled into the side and told me, I've got 9 minutes to try and get you a goal. And Bruno said he couldn't give the assist to him, but I'm sure he will get goals in the future, showing belief in our young superstar, Ethan Wheatley. Eric Ten Hag and Bruno Fernandes saying he's in amazing form. That's what we need from our number 10, which is exactly correct. 7 goals and 2 assists in his last 5 games. And Ten Hag and Manchester United reaction to going a goal behind. Have you seen some panic? No, not at all. We were very composed. We kept making chances throughout the game, and you have to agree with that one. Make sure you're liking the video, subscribing to the mufcMPB channel, and of course, keeping things locked on Twitter as well. Look at this wonderful Twitter channel, 475,000 followers. Let's get that to 500,000. Make sure you follow it on Twitter, because that is the place where all your Manchester United news needs to come from. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you next time.